is everyone doing? Hoping that this is streaming live on Instagram as well. It should be. If it's not, we will definitely put it up there later. We are here to talk to Mariatu, better known as Phoenix Warrior. And I'm not going to waste any time because I want to be respectful of everybody's time. And I'm going to bring her right on up. All right, so give me 1 minute. Hey there. Can you hear me? Uh-oh, I think you can you hear me? Hold on, I can't hear you. Here we go. I hear something. Okay, go ahead on out and come on back in. All right, guys. Mariatu is going to come back in, and we will get it from there. I hope if you are tuning in on Instagram as well. Don't know if it's going live there, but we're trying. Got this new program, so we'll try it. But we're going to wait for Mariatu to come back. And just want to let you know that we're going to be speaking with her about her lupus journey and about her new book. And we are really going to just have a good time learning about someone's journey and learning about her and how she has overcome so many things in defeating lupus day to day. So if this is your first time, we do these quite often where we tell lupus warrior stories. We allow them to tell their stories on our platform. And we want, we do this because we know that people need to see someone that's like them. They need to have that representation. They need to have that I'm not the only one that's sad and, or has gone through this stuff and gone through that stuff. Sometimes it's nice to hear someone else's story, especially when they have overcome so many things that you might relate to. And in that relation, it can be some healing. So we are just waiting on Mariatu. Let me see. I can't see on Instagram if I'm on or anything. If I'm not, like I said, I will put that back over when I can. Probably tonight. Let me turn up my volume just in case you cannot hear me. So if you don't mind, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. If you are in the Facebook group or on YouTube. And we can get this started when Mariatu comes back. Here we go. Here we go. Let's try it again.
Okay, I'm back.
There we go.
I'm sorry about the technical difficulties.
That's all right. That's all right. The
How are you?
Are always like that.
I'm telling you.
Crazy. Hi. How are you doing?
I am doing great. How are you?
I am good. I cannot complain. I'm so happy that you decided to come on.
Huh?
I'm so happy you decided to come on.
Oh yeah, sure. Why wouldn't I? You came on. I was like, come on, y'all support. We have to support one another.
Absolutely. So let's get down to it.
Okay.
I know there might be a little echo. Let me see if I have.
It's probably because I'm in my basement, but I'm not really sure if this computer, I thought it was going, I was like, oh, it's good. The computer gonna work. And I tested out, and then next thing you know, I couldn't hear anything.
I know that's right. So tell me, when did you find out you had lupus?
Okay, so when I found out I had lupus, it was right after my daughter. It was in 2008, 2009 at the ending. I would say 2009. I was 23 years old. That's when I found out that I had lupus. So it's been about 13 years now.
Wow. And what type of lupus do you have?
I have discoid lupus. along with systemic lupus. There's sometimes they always say like vasculitis and some other kind of lupus, but those are the main things. So discoid lupus really is the main one that affects me, which it messes with your skin.
Right. And you've been through a lot with your skin, right?
Oh yeah, I've been through it. Oh, I felt like I was in a whole war, 2, 3, 4. Because lupus it attacks my skin. And it feels like it's burning, and the way how it attacks it is that once you lupus, the little bit of stress that you get, it affects you. I could be overthinking, and then next thing you know, my face starts to turn red, and I start to have rashes, and then that one rash, just because I scratched it, has now become a scab, and it opened up, and now my whole back has opened up. So discoid lupus, I've really dealt with that, the scarring, as far as when I flare up. My face, the way how the pigmentation, as you can see, my hands, it really affect my hands and stuff. And honestly, when I was first diagnosed at 23, there wasn't as much as you see now. It was like it was the butterfly rash. It was the in and out. I thought, as the doctor said, that I had they thought that I had eczema or psoriasis, because it was going away with the medication that they were giving, and then all of a sudden it's no longer working.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they take one thing, they treat you for that, and then they find out, oh, it's not really
that. Exactly, and that's where I feel like misdiagnosis come in at. I feel like when it comes down to the medication part, that played a part in some of what I have going on as physical wise, what it does to my skin, and, the changes that I've been through, because I have been through a lot, been going to the hospital, being, not going to the hospital for 24 hours, but you be there for 72 to a week, and you have to adjust. And during this time of COVID, there's no way. It's lonely in there. You don't want to get in there. So you have to try to do your best. And I'm, even though I've been dealing with it for 13 years, I'm still learning how to deal with it. And what not to eat, what not to do, who not to be around, how to breathe the air, it's just like it's a lot.
Yeah, it definitely was a lot. But I like what you said, watching what you eat, watching people you be around.
Yeah,
all that stress.
It is. And that's something that it took me a long time to learn is, stop carrying everything on your back, and you can't do this. If you can't do it, you can't do it. Say you can't do it. It's not, you're not a yes, ma'am. You sitting here and you like, oh yes, I can do it. Oh yes, you're dealing with children, you're dealing with home, you're dealing with family. It's just a lot. And, I was one of those who lupus humbled me. It humbled me because this wasn't me. Before, when I was younger, man, I was a wild, I did a lot, and the partying, I would go for work, the party, make sure home taken care of course, I have 2 kids, but, it was never like this. This changed my mindset about a lot of things and how I look at things. One thing I will say is government. I look at it as though, because Social Security was something I never thought I would receive at a young age. Not even just saying that, social service help. I didn't know what daycare vouchers was or food stamps, and it was just because I was like, oh, you have to work. And as time got older and I got on my own, I started to learn these other things that, okay, there's no judgment, because now I'm receiving these things, and now, I know what I needed for that. It's helping me, but I was ashamed in the beginning. Like, who wants to say like you're 20 something years old and you're getting Social Security, and you're not able to work? Because I've been working since I was 16 years old. So, it has done major things, especially physical wise, you know, as far as my skin, it affects you in relationships. You know, it affects you with other people. You know, people look at you and they say, "Oh, did you get burned?" You know, or what happened to you, or they just staring at you, you know. And at first I used to be like, okay, they just it was making me feel really uncomfortable. But now I'm to the point where I can talk about it, joke about it, and be like, hey, I even say that I have beauty wounds because that's what they are, you know. So I've named them and I'm comfortable now in my skin. It took me over 10 years to get here.
Yeah, it takes a while. It takes a while. You have to go through those stages of having lupus. You know, so you said when you first got lupus and was told about your diagnosis, you stated that you felt ashamed at one point, right?
Yeah. When I first got diagnosed, honestly, I didn't even know what it was. Okay.
Right.
And the doctor, I will never forget, like I was like, oh my God, I don't feel good. You know, I feel really fatigued, weak. Maybe I'm overworking myself. And that's how I felt. Then it was just like I had this red like butterfly thing on my nose. You know, I thought it was just a regular, you know, where your skin break out, like they told me, eczema or psoriasis. So I ended up going to this herb doctor, and he was like my primary physician at the time. And I was going in, I was explaining to him, he wasn't the type to talk too much. He would just look at you, and I'm like, oh, I don't like it. And he's like, he was gonna have them, you know, he was gonna have them take some blood work from me. I said, okay. And next day he calls and say, hey, his nurses called and said, hey, we would like you to come in, you know, so we can read your results. And I'm like, well, why you can't tell me over the phone? You know, it's like, well, he would like you to come in so he can speak with you. I was like, oh God, what is it? You know, I ended up telling my mom. My mom ended up going with me because I was nervous. I'm like, what do they want to talk to me about? I get there and they say, hey, you know, he was like, well, your test results came back and he was like, you have SLE. Now, funny story. SLE, you say 3 letters, it sounds like a sexual transmitted disease. You can't tell me 3 letters and think I'm just gonna be okay. Like I'm like, what are you talking about? What you hold up, wait a minute. Like, you know, I was like, I'm gonna wait till I get in here. No, that's not what it is, you know. And he explained that it was systemic lupus. And he was explaining to me about the protein being so high in my urine and that how it was affecting my kidneys. And I had to go straight to he sent me to go get a biopsy done on my kidneys. And once I got that biopsy done, you know, they can go from there where to go. And, you know, I went ahead and did that right away. My dad took me. We got that done right away. And, you know, thank God it was a mild case. Whereas though they said now it's stage 3 kidney nephritis. So, you know, so I'm like, okay, so I'm confused. Is it lupus? Is it this? If somebody explain, because it's like too many things now adding up to it, but they're all like, it's the same category. Right. You know, and I'm like, okay, well, I didn't understand. So being told that it was taking a lot to process because I didn't take it serious. Honestly, I didn't take it serious because I'm like, oh, you know, I'm fine. I felt fine all the time. I just had a little downtime. Maybe I overworked, you know, and that's how I carried it. As time went on, I was like, okay, you know what? This is getting serious because now I'm getting scars. Now I'm feeling weak. Now I'm on medication that I never heard. And I've been in the nursing field since I was 18. So me taking care of other people, now I have to take care of myself. Now I have to go into the hospital when they're taking care of me. This is new for me.
Yeah. And it had to be serious at the early age too.
Yeah. And the thing is like, now I'm looking at other people who go through things, you know, cancer, diabetes, you know, different diseases, because honestly, you don't hear too much about lupus. Not that you know, now you are, but then you were not. I just didn't hear about it. We weren't being educated on it like that. So it was up to me to really educate myself or get with people that already had it so that I can get a better understanding. But I was really ashamed. I didn't really talk about it too much.
Right. And I think that's a lot of people. Lisa says, I have FLA. I know how that is, and I wish I could learn more. I've had lupus for 20 years and I'm really struggling. Yeah.
Yeah. Dealing with lupus, you can, like she said, 20 years, it could be 30 years, and that your mental is not as the next person. You know what I mean? Like, we deal with a lot. We are fighters. We are warriors, and we have to deal with this on a daily basis. They may not raise every day to be like, hey, well, you don't look. I've had people say, well, you don't look like you have lupus. Well, what does lupus look like? Please explain to me. What does it look like?
Right.
Because I mean, at night, I'm like, God, I'm thanking God for even being here, waking up. I'm thanking God for waking up. I'm thanking God just to see the next hour, period. Because it's just like, you don't really know, like, dealing with it. This is a whole, it's more than a physical thing. It's more than just taking medication. It's overall life. It's overall life, and it's a life-changing thing that we have to deal with. And so being in groups and talking to other people helps us. To be an advocate is like, okay, I may not know everything. Maybe we can learn it together and teach each other these things.
Absolutely. I love that because sometimes you feel so lonely dealing with lupus. And when you find people that understand, who has been through it, it makes such a difference. You see yourself going through it and overcoming.
Absolutely. I did feel lonely at one time. Because I kept it to myself. Like, besides my parent, my family knowing, it was just like, I really didn't even show them what it was doing to me. They see the physical change and they see, oh, she's going to the doctors all the time. She's getting this and that, but now I'm going into the hospital and, I'm losing hair at this time. I had to keep a short haircut, and it was just like, I really cannot show any weakness. And that's just how I carried that's just my everyday thing anyways. Like, I could never show you that I was hurting. I have to always be the strong one, and I, not only that, me being a strong one, I had to be brave for my kids. So it's just like, I could not really show no type of weak sign of anything. So I kept it all to myself, which made it worse, because when you hold in internal, you not saying anything, you keeping everything balled up inside, you're stressing your body is malfunctioning at this point, and it's just like, I was breaking more and breaking more to the point where as though I'm just scarring and scarring. I'm just like, this is just it, and again, when I said earlier about relationships, I was married at a time. And I felt like, maybe even with that, because we known each other so long since we were kids or whatnot, he still knew who I was as a person, but I did not feel like that support that I needed right then and there was it, because I don't think neither one of us took it as serious. But now that it's me, that it's in my body, so I have to take it serious. But it was just like, how can I fault somebody for saying, oh, they not taking it as serious, and I wasn't taking it as serious at one point. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I had to deal with a lot with that.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah.
Becky asks, are you having more flare-ups since the COVID hit? Do you find you have more?
Honestly, when the COVID first hit, I had 5 surgeries at the time. I was home. I was getting flare-ups due to stress, because I was so like overwhelmed with what was going on with me, as far as other things, other doors that lupus was opening, and it affected me. Now, so during that time, I was home more. I don't feel like I really had a lot of flare-ups, only to the time where I was outside of the door, where I started going back to work. And I did notice, like, you know what, I can't be around anybody. I have to be home. So God, thank you. Now I work from home now, and I see less. I don't flare up as much. If I do flare up, it's because I probably done did a lot for that day, and I have a little speck here and there, but less flare ups now that I'm staying at home most of the time, because I work from home and only step out when I need to, like as far as going out and things. But I didn't really have too much, because I did have I had no choice but to stay home around the time.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the same with me too. I've I feel like everything was fine because I didn't stress
Yeah.
about COVID.
Right. And it's just like we already used to not really doing too much anyway. So this is just like coming to our world.
Yep, exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Lisa, Lisa says she has a question. How do you get disability because you can't work? Oh, that's a loaded question.
Whew. Now, disability was something that didn't just you couldn't just go say, "Hey, I'm gonna fill out this paper," and
Right.
they're gonna approve you right then and there. You have to prove a case. Okay. And when I went, my cousin, she helped me with that. Like, because we had to write like a letter to like the state. And and then I had like my medical records was so thick. I don't think they had no choice at the time because I made sure I came with full proof to make sure that they knew. So applying for disability, I would say this: make sure that you have all your ducks in a row. Like you have to have your medical record because it's like proof. And not only that, when I went to get Social Security, like they were laughing at me because I was all, cute for the day, and things. And the lady was like, who are you applying for? And I'm like, I'm applying for myself. And she was just like, well, what do you
Wrote
have?
it down.
Yeah. And I'm like, I have lupus. And she said, like, lady, okay, I got you. So you know what I did? I went, this time it wasn't even by just because, I don't know, but I had a cane and a scarf and you're gonna give me this disability because I need this, and I had bills to pay because at this time I had no choice but to stop working. It wasn't by choice. The doctor told me I was working in a hospital setting. Okay, so your white blood count's supposed to be 10. My white blood count at the time was like 1.3. And me working in a hospital setting, I was flaring up so much because I was around all these germs, and then I thought by me going to the babies working in a NICU would help me. But I think that kind of triggered it more because I'm working at night. Number one, we need our sleep. So it's just like 7 p to 7, 8, 3 days a week back to back. My body was never resting at the time. So now the doctor's like, you know what, you have to come off. I think that's another thing that helped me with disability because the doctors took me off. That was by no choice. I had all my medical records and, doing disability is not a one-time thing. Keep fighting for it though, and if you have to get a lawyer or get some type of consultation or something like that, I'm quite sure you will because that's why it's great that we come together as one to be advocates for each other because they can see and telling your story and speaking on it and keep being adamant about it, what you want. They will give it to you. No matter whether don't go one time and give up because they want you to give up. They don't want you to just do one time. They want you to give up on it. So you cannot give up. You have to keep going and have all your ducks in a row for that.
Absolutely. That's such good advice. You definitely have to apply your own and just take your time and do the application. Most people do get denied on the first try.
For the first time, yeah.
But like you said, Mariatu, get you a lawyer.
Yep.
They're not going to charge you if you're going to win.
Yep.
They will help you to really get what you need.
Yes, they will. And it's just like, I didn't really understand the world I was entering. I didn't know what was planned for me. I didn't know. I'm like, I had to have a talk with the man. Then I got upstairs. I got upset with the man upstairs, and I'm just like, why? Like, why? Why am I going through these things? Because I'm so used to working all the time. That was snatched. I felt like my world was taken from me when I could not work. Now I have to depend and get on a fixed income.
Right.
And now my whole lifestyle is going to change because I was one of those that was just showing off, just thought it was A-okay. But you know what? Maybe that was the way of me settling down, and saying, like, hey, you need to slow down a little bit, and this is what you need to do. But God don't give us anything we can't handle. All of us that have this going on in our lives right now, it's not just because, like, hey, I'm getting picked on. It's we can handle it, and once you get it, it's up to us now how to go further with it. Like, if I didn't pick up to, like, really get into mindset of taking care of myself, going to all my doctor's appointments, taking my medications like I need to, and things like that, doing my own research now, reaching out to other people at this point, like, hey, how can you do this and how can, but I was so ashamed. I was so closed up, my arms, like, how they just like, the pigmentation and everything has changed. I couldn't wear sleeveless no more. I was not comfortable wearing sleeveless. I was not comfortable wearing a dress, like, because my legs weren't even flaring up. Like, my legs were still good, everything, but it was like my arms. Then it started to attack my back, and then it started come like on my face. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting ready to shut down.
Right.
And now wearing makeup is so messy. Like, it's so messy. You gotta get this, get that. And I didn't know how to do makeup. Like, my daughter would laugh at me, my friends, they'd be like, girl, your eyebrow up here. I'm like, I don't care. It looks good for today.
Fix that.
Yeah, it looked good for today. I just cover it up and it look all nice. Now I'm wearing wigs, because it's just like, oh, I'm not getting my hair done I had a short haircut, kept finger waves, cut this. Now it's starting to break here and it's starting to break there. And my ears, it's a whole new world itself. Look, what are you going to do, Mariatu? Are you going to, this is you now, and you're going to have to accept it, and I finally broke down. Where I said that, I would never show weakness. And this time I was talking to my mom, I was like, I give up. I don't know what to do. And my dad, I never break down in front of my father. So it's like I broke down in front of my father, and he was just, it's okay, it's okay, like talking to me. And I was just like, oh my God. They knew that I was at an end point, because I was at a breaking point there, because I was holding so much inside and always showing to be tough. And
sometimes you can't. You just gotta let it out.
Absolutely.
And let that cry out so you can release and heal.
Crying. I call it a shower cry. Shower cries, and the night cries when nobody hear you, the kids sleep. And you just it's just a lot to really go through, when you're going through this new world. Lupus opened up the doors for other things, it just, a vascular necrosis I was recently diagnosed with when I said that I had 5 surgeries of the bone. A vascular necrosis basically came from long usage of prednisone. Prednisone is a steroid, and it has that sugar in it, and it's just, prednisone is just like a good and bad.
Yeah, like a blessing and a curse.
Yes, it is. And because I've been on prednisone for 13 years, it had attacked my bones, and I didn't even know I was walking on a collapsed hip. I was still wearing heels. I was still doing this and that.
doing it.
Nah, listen, I didn't even realize, but I would be in pain, but it wasn't like at the moment. It's just like if I'm on it for so long, I will feel it. And I'm like, man, this hip is hurting me. I would complain about my hip, but I went several times for like a CT scan, X-ray, things like that. They didn't see anything. So they went a little deeper, and started doing more tests. And I don't know which one was the more visual. I don't know if it's CT or which one it was, but you had to go through the whole body.
The MRI.
Yeah, the MRI. And I went there, and they find like, we're gonna have to do surgery. Because, but we can do a decompression. So a decompression is like they can patch it, and then they can see if it can come together without you having made a hip replacement. Because I'm 35. At the time I was 34. And they were saying like, okay, let's go ahead and, do this decompression on your right side first, because this is the worst one, because both of them needed it. And I'm like, okay, I can't believe this ain't this a mess, And okay, so I did the first surgery. I thought it worked. I'm like, oh, a month later, boom, it was still hurting. So but now left hip now, because now I'm dependent on my left hip. So now my left hip had to get done, which is the same decompression. And so I said, okay, we went ahead and did that. Okay, it felt fine for now, but the right hip is now back to where it was. So you know what? The doctor said, you know what, please trust me. I can do this. I think that this is better, because they were trying to avoid from doing a hip replacement. Okay. So after that, I said, okay, let's go ahead and do it. I talked to my parents about it. You know, they my number one supporters. I talked to them. I said, this is what it is. This is what I got to do. And we went ahead and we agreed to it. I went ahead and did that. It worked for a little bit, a couple of months. I'm not even going to say 3 months, but about 60 days. And that was the third surgery. The left hip now is getting another decompression. No, I take it back. Now I really had to get a hip replacement because at this point it's excruciating. I can't handle the pain. It's way too much. I could barely walk. I'm using a cane. And I was just like using a cane. This is embarrassing at 30 something to be using a cane. You know, mentally, I have these things playing in my mind. And I'm like, you know what? If I'm gonna walk on this cane, I'm gonna be a fly somebody walking on this cane. So I had to carry it like that. And I was like, you know, this is what it is. So I had my first hip replacement, my right hip. My left hip was then replaced afterwards. It was right before my birthday in March. So it was this year I got my right hip, but January was when I had the right hip replaced. And when was it? No, it was last year I had it. So it was like a couple of months apart. And then February, I had the left hip replaced. So I had both my hips replaced within a couple of months. The first one was good. I had a lot of help, a lot of support from my family. And then the second hip was the killer. The second hip was the killer because it was that COVID time. Okay. In the hospital.
Right.
Loneliness. Not only just that, it was the fact that I'm going through this thing and now I think I have an infection. On the cut, on where they had the incision, it was like bubbly. It was bubbly. It looked like it was infected, but I was flaring up because my body was under stress. Not only that, I flared up so bad. My sister, I felt so bad. My mother and everybody. I was flaring up. I kept saying, I don't feel good. I was telling my mom, I was like, I don't feel good. I really don't feel good. Something is different about this. And she was like, oh, you know, you sure to call the doctor. I called the doctor. I showed them. We had to do a virtual doctor's appointment because you know what was going on. And I showed them. And it was like really, like, you know how the boil looked like you got burnt, but it bubbles. So it was like really big on top of the incision. And I was showing them not only that my back had opened up completely. I was stuck to my bed, my skin, because when I was asleep. Yeah, so basically I had to, when I got up, I ripped my skin. Yeah. And so my skin was ripped on my back. There was blood all over my bed. I was just terrible. It was terrible. And so they told me to go into where I had my hip replacement at. And they kept me in the emergency room, the worst. I mean, so much pain. I cried. I told them to turn off the light. It was just too much. They couldn't help me. They had to send me back home because they said it wasn't my hip. So I had to go to Johns Hopkins where my doctors are. And when they took me, my blood pressure was sky high. You know, my best friend, she took me. And, you know, she was just like really, when she saw me, I was crying. She never seen me like that. I was like all bloody mess and she didn't know what to do for her. And, you know, after that, it was like we got in the car. I'm still laughing. I'm still joking, you know, and it was just like, how can you not? You would just, what is going on? But I can't put my mindset there. That's how I deal with my pain. I deal with my pain by just not thinking about it. I don't think about it. I'm just like, look, I got this. I gotta be strong. So it's just like at this point, it is what it is. At this point, I'm here, you know, and so let's go get this taken care of. I ended up in the hospital for about 2 weeks. It was very lonely. During COVID time, I had nobody. I had to talk to my kids on a video, you know, my mom, you know, and everything. That was the worst flare up I've ever experienced.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, good grief.
Yeah, it was my whole entire back. It was my chest. It was my arms and my legs. It looked like I just got burnt by fire because they had to treat me as a burn victim.
Right. Mm-hmm. Ooh. And look
Yeah.
at you standing here today to tell about it, though.
I know, and I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed. I'm so like where I'm at in life, my attitude. I mean, I can only thank God for even still being here to see my kids, 19 and 13. I'm a teen mom. I had my son at 15. We grew up together, my daughter, she's my little princess, I had her at 22. So, before I had gotten married, and it's just like, I'm blessed to still be able to see them and be able to do things. I had so many new things I've been doing. So it's just like, I have these, I'm happy.
And you know what? That makes me feel so good to hear you say that. Because it's so rare that people are able to express beyond all the pain they are happy.
Yeah, I
And that
am.
is so important to your healing.
Oh yes, and I think that's one of the things that helps me. Not only that, I will say, people, people I come across. I do come across some genuine people who just support you. I come across, when I love to talk to people. I could be in the store and be like, hey girl, you ain't seen them, and I'm just talking and explaining to them, oh, what's that? Oh girl, I explain lupus by telling my own story. That's how I explain it, because I can't give you what the doctor gave you. I'm not going to tell you on SLE because you're going to think the same thing I thought when they first told me. So, I sit there and I tell them about lupus through my own story because that's the only way I can explain it, because I'm not the physicians. I'm not, I can't give you those words they're giving. I can only give you my words, and I can go from there.
Absolutely. You're hitting every question that I have for you. But I want to get to one question, and I want you to tell me all about your book. Let us know what the name of the book is. There we go. There we go.
This is my book. Okay, so during the time, let me start from this. So my book is called The Journey of the Unbreakable Warrior. And the reason why I gave that name was because I do call, I call myself Phoenix Warrior. Phoenix, I was like, this is a powerful bird, this, that. And I love X-Men. Okay. So Jean Grey is my favorite. Okay. I just thought like she's the best X-Men ever. And so basically I gave myself this name, Phoenix Warrior. I'm like, I'm a warrior. I'm always fighting. I'm always like just in everything that I do, So during the time I wrote this book, I wrote it during the time I had my surgeries. What made me write the book is it's like, man, I'm a storyteller anyways with my friends. I'm always telling the story, girl, you ain't know, blah, 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 blah. I'm the trash talker. So it's just like, but I'm the laid back one. You would never know that I know how to tell a story. Right. So I went ahead and was like, you know what? I'm not working, and I'm just getting Social Security. I just, once I got dressed, they helped me get dressed in the morning. I come down with my walker. I go down to the couch. I sat there and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I started writing on the computer. Boop, 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 boop. I rushed out to my mentor, Leslie Crawford, who helped me, and I rushed out and I seen her on Instagram. I was like, I wonder if I could, if she helps with, she's an author too, and she does editing and things like that. Let me see. And I rushed out to her, and blessings upon blessings, she helped me. She worked with me financially, and things. I explained to her why I wanted to write the book, but she kept asking me, why you want to tell your story? Like, everybody has a story. Your story just the same as, because I was a teen mom, because I was this, that. And she was like, okay. And I was like, dang, she putting the pressure on me, but she made me really see why I needed to, like, why I was writing this book. Who is your audience? Who are you reaching out to? This and that and the third. But I just was like, I know I can do it. So I started writing a book, and I basically wrote the book. It's based on me being a teen mom, being, married to divorce, to, being in relationships. It just was wasn't good for me, toxic people anyways overall. And, dealing with lupus, and I wanted people to come into my world because I want them to hear the real story of Mariatu. Like when I was a teenager, I fought all the time. Yes, physically, I was a fighter. I thought I was Mike
My
Tyson.
girl.
Then, yeah, then Holyfield. Next thing you know, I'm changing. I don't know who I was at the time, but I had to. Like it was just like, oh, you did so much, you fought so much. Then I had little secrets of my own that I was just moving a different way, and I wasn't ashamed to share my story because if I'm going to be in the public eye and I'm going to be an advocate, I'm not going to show you one way. I'm going to show you all of me and why I feel like, me telling my story now could help somebody else. It could be a teen out here who I hid my pregnancy. Okay. A teenager, man, it's just when everything I put in a book that made me, it was just like, I don't want to just tell a story. Right. I don't want to write a biography. I want you to really visualize what I'm talking about. Yes, and feel it. So I'm going to talk as me because, sometimes my mouth can be filthy. But I'm going to talk as me and I'm going to give you this story. And and now I have to face whatever comes my way, whether people may be like, oh my God, I can't believe she did that. But this and that. But I want you to know who I was to who I'm being now, because it took me for me to go through all of that to where I'm at in life right now. In life right now, I am in a much better place. My mindset is different. I'm at peace. I wasn't at peace at that time. I was not at peace. Right in that story, I went through emotions. I went through, one day I was laughing, to the next day I was crying, then I was angry because I can't believe I did that. You were so dumb to really do these things. But you know what? You live and you learn. If I didn't make those mistakes, I probably wouldn't have never known that now.
You'd have been a totally different person.
Yes, absolutely. And, but I'm grateful that I wrote the book because the feedback and the reviews I've been getting has been awesome. It's been amazing, and when you write a book, Leslie told me a lot. I didn't know it was so much to go into a book, and I wrote this book with just Social Security. Nobody helped me with it. You gotta pay distributors, you gotta do this and that. And I literally would be like, hey, she was taking money out every month for like 6 months. Excuse me. And I was like, okay, oh man, this is gonna be tough. I needed to do it. Yes. Yeah. And now look,
and not even because you wanted everybody to hear your story, but you wanted to heal yourself.
That was the way how I healed. That was the way how I wrote my past down. I wrote it down and I'm like, man, you really went through some things and you made some wrong choices. But at the end of the day, I can really admit that I have made wrong choices. Maybe I could have done it better, but maybe I can help somebody else who, is in that same situation and I can help them future wise. Maybe that can be. But I now my book is in Barnes and Noble, it's in Target, Amazon, and if you just Google it, it'll just come up and say, oh my God, I can't believe I have a book. So
choose one paragraph out of your book to read to us right now. The one that you feel would just get someone hooked.
Okay.
Your story is amazing.
Thank you. Let's see. One paragraph. Okay. Maybe I'll do the last paragraph. Matter of fact, it's not a paragraph, but it's like 3 short paragraphs. Is that okay?
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay. So it says the experience has been strenuous. Having one of your senses take away from you was something I just could not envision. My world was something dissimilar to the world I was born into. Step into my shoes for a day. Imagine going to sleep and deep down, you're wondering if you will wake up the next morning to see your children. Or imagine having people constantly asking you what happened to your skin. whether you're burnt by fire, or have vitiligo, or even just staring at you. The worst is crying every day and watching your kids grow because you don't know if you'll see them become parents. I went from having surgery to barely walking, walking with a cane, bedridden, to being back on my feet. It's not easy, but I'm strong. From everything I have been through in life, the people I have encountered, and the negative and positive experience I've had, I thank every person for playing their role. Without having those experiences, I would not be the person I am today. I transformed from the phoenix rising from death. I had so many battles that most people wouldn't survive. I gave birth at I gave birth to my son when I was 15, and I almost died. My son is now 18 years old and currently preparing for the fire department. I was married and divorced shortly after. I let go of love that no longer existed. I had to face the facts that I couldn't change or mold someone into who I wanted them to be. They had to change for themselves. I experienced hurt and allowed people to mistreat me. I know how I should have been treated, but I did learn the grass is never greener on the other side. Manipulation and deception comes in all forms of shape and sizes. I had ongoing destructive behavior by bringing the enemy closer to me. I allowed the enemy to sleep in my bed and enter my world. After they slept well, they destroyed it and left it in shambles. They didn't know what loyalty meant. Loyalty isn't about how long you have known someone, but how long you treat them.
Woo, that's powerful. I love it.
Thank you.
That's straight from the heart.
Yeah.
Straight from the heart.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love it. I love your spirit. I love the way that you express yourself. And you're not afraid anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Nah.
Like, take me as I am.
Absolutely. Like I said, it took me 10 years to get where I am. I've always been a strong person, but it's just like acceptance was the hard thing to actually go through. It's like one of those things like, oh my God. But I'm not afraid to talk about it. I'm not afraid to not wear makeup. I'm not afraid to not just show who I am because you want to take me as is. God has built all of us differently. So at the end of the day, why should I be ashamed? This is my past. Don't hold it against me. You can't hold me accountable for that, but I've already done that. Now I'm working on my future and, in the present as we live here. If I can help someone in my shoes that's going through something, not even just saying that has lupus, but overall that's battling demons or battling something in their life. My thing is an outlet. You need an outlet. Holding it inside is not good. That brings other things, lupus with me has opened up hypertension, taking all these medications, the vascular necrosis, vasculitis, and, learning, going through, where your hair and on your scalp break out, you can't even eat. I didn't even know that I couldn't really do spaghetti, like, tomato sauce and things like that. I didn't know that. Like I was tearing some pizza up. And I was just like, oh my God, I keep flaring up, like what's going on? I had to learn that it's the food that you put in your body too.
Say it again for people in the back.
I'm telling you, like, you gotta watch what you eat. It's like, oh, I even noticed that, okay, I could drink wine here and there, but if you drink liquor, this is what's going on. I didn't know that. So I'm still learning. And to everyone that is going through something, you have to have an outlet, and with me, I listen, to other people's stories. I try to see, their opinions about things and not per se like I'm going to just take it, but I'm always a listening ear. I'm always a listening ear.
That's good. I think that a lot of times we as lupus warriors are always looking to help someone else.
Yes.
Because we know how it feels not to have that help, to be down and out and need it.
And we're always like that. I feel like, it's a little girl, I don't know, Rain, her mom, Cherry, is on here. she like, it was something about her. She's 10 going through the same thing we're going through. I'm like, and even worse, always in the hospital, and like she's going through like these chemo treatments and things, 10 years old.
To be to have to do that.
Absolutely. And she's going through changes. Like, when she saw me, I saw her for the first time. I went to North Carolina, and she was just like, your skin is so beautiful. It looks better than mine. I'm like, whoa. And it's like, oh my God. Like, it felt so great. It felt great, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this little angel right here is going through all of this stuff at this age. I can't imagine how her mother feels.
Right.
I can't imagine how I know how I feel when I'm sick, when I don't feel good, when it's just like I have migraines is a major thing with me. I experienced a lot of migraines, and it's just like, because, I had my fifth nerve collapsed in my brain. That was part of the whole lupus thing I had. And I talked about it also in my book. But, these little things going on, it does open up other doors. And it do make you, it's either going to make you stronger or it's going to make you weak. But I will hope that you choose for you to be stronger, so we're able to help each other and share our story, because our story could help other people.
Right. And other people who are not adults. It's like her 10-year-old daughter was really looking at you like, wow, she's got the same things that I have. Representation is so important,
It is. And, I'm very transparent, it had to be that way. I had to be that way. I had to get people to really know, like, I'm not always this goody you think I am. Not always bad neither. You know what I'm saying? But this is just who I am. I'm not ashamed to share my story. I'm not ashamed to tell anybody about what I've been through, because we all have been through something. I just chose to display mine. I just chose to talk about it and publish it. And that's just the difference.
Right. As we start to begin to wrap up a little bit, I like to ask these three questions as my final question. Your first question is, what is your fight? What's the song that gets you up when Lupus is trying to get you down?
Ooh. So I do like, okay, so Shayna Wilson, Give Me You is a gospel song that I listen to. I be having to get in my zone a little bit with that, because I'm talking to God. At this point, I'm asking, why, how, what, who. That's my song. Then I have the trap side of me, right?
You're a little holy in the neighborhood. I hear you, girl.
So it's Lil Wayne and Eminem. And it's Drop the World and hold up, what's the title? Drop the World and No Love. So I felt like, and it's not even about the words, it's about the beat. It like has me like it pumps me, give me the adrenaline. Those three songs I love. I don't really like songs that make me so sad and make me, overthink. I like the beats are the ones that really catches my attention.
Right. So Lil Wayne, who else? Lil Wayne and Eminem.
Featuring Eminem.
I'm typing it in for the chat. And what's the name of the song?
It's called Drop the World. It's one, and then No Love.
I think I know both of them.
Yeah, it's the beat. It's like, oh my God, yes, give me that adrenaline. Like, it's like pumping me.
I love it. So I know that you're a woman of faith.
Yes.
You mentioned God to me.
Yes.
What is a scripture that you love that really speaks to you?
Okay, so honestly, I really don't have a scripture. Growing up, I grew up in a home with a Muslim and Christian. My mom is Christian, my dad is Muslim. Reading the Fatiha, was something that I like. Basically, what I know, I'm no more of the Muslim world than I do of the Christian world. But I believe in God so heavy, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Him. you know.
Right.
So when I speak to God, I will, you know, read the Arabic, I will, you know, read the Fatiha, and I will go ahead. But I also, you know, believe in God that, oh, you can't do both and you can't do, it's not even about doing both. It's overall, I do believe that there is someone higher power, you know, and there's no way I will be sitting here after everything I've been through to sit here and how would I be? So how would we even get by? How are we surviving? I survive by God. God has me here, not the doctor, because God guide those doctors, nurses, whomever took care of me. He guided those angels. Yes, I believe in spirits. Yes, I believe in all of that. So I'm very, when it comes to that, I may not, you know, be the one like, oh, I'm at church all the time, but I grew up. I have both worlds.
And that's amazing. Because it's important that you know beyond any religion.
Yep.
That there is a higher power than you.
Yes.
You know.
Absolutely.
We might have different religions, but we all believe the same premise of there's something higher than us keeping us and keeping us moving.
Yes, I believe that. Very heavy.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So what about a quote that moves you? That if you're having a down time, what quote do you say yourself?
Yeah.
Even if it's just your quote, you know what I'm saying? What is it that you say? I heard you say before, I don't have time for this. What is it that you say to yourself? Uh-oh, your voice went out. Your mic. Put your mic on.
Can you hear me?
There we go.
Okay, sorry. I always say I don't have time for this. That's one thing I'll be like, you know, I don't have time for this. But I did put something like the last line of my book. I always say like, I said in Roman times, the Greek goddess of wisdom and war was Athena. As I look in the mirror, I am her, but instead I am her, but instead of carrying her name, call me Phoenix Warrior.
I love it.
So Athena is like, man, yeah, she was, yeah. And then you're like, oh yeah, because I'm this warrior and I had to carry the attitude of a warrior. And I thought at one time I was Xena, probably one time in my life. I don't know who I And it's just like, you know, but yeah, so I compare myself to that, and that is how I get by. Those words, it's like, it's not really other, if you notice, I'm not really going off of other people's words. I like to really create my own. I'm creating my own world, my own words, you know. And I said world because you have your world, I have my world, other people are in it. It's who we allow to be in our world, you know. And I had to learn
how much energy we allow them to bring.
Absolutely. So I had to change my circle. I had to keep positive people around me. You know, my cousin, she's very positive. You know, she always encouraged me, my mom, my dad, my sister, my brother, and my children. Like my daughter is my nurse, you know, like she's like my mom, you know. So it's just like these things I experienced overall life. I'm grateful for even the bad. You know, I'm grateful for the good. I'm grateful for the great, the excellence, whatever it is. God has given me a mission that I have completed. I'm now ready to execute the next one. So whatever it is, you know, I'm ready for it.
I feel you. I love you. So your last question.
Yes.
If you could give 3 pieces of advice to lupus warriors out in the world, what would they be?
1, never give up. Never give up. Keep fighting. You know. 2, open up. You know, as I was saying earlier, you know, we need an outlet. Even if you're talking to, it's nothing wrong with talking to a counselor, you know, or you talking to, you know, they say, oh, you talk to a psychiatrist, you just said no. And no, I don't think so. Like, I feel like we should be somebody you should open up to as an outlet, you know, because it makes you feel better. It makes you, even if you not even expressing it to somebody, but sharing with the world, or maybe join a lupus group or something like that, where you can share your story and you could be an advocate. You never know who you're helping. 3, overall, make sure you put your faith in God. Whomever you believe in, whomever you believe in, you take that and you have to encourage yourself. You have to accept it first before you're able to share or help somebody else. You have to have acceptance. You have to be able to say, you know what, God, thank you. Thank you. And you accept it now, and that you're able to help the next person, but never, ever give up. Keep fighting. That's why we're warriors. We are not made to just sit here and just be like, oh my God, I'm just so tired. Yes, we're tired. All of us is tired.
Everybody tired.
Yeah, we want to give up, but we can't give up because we're letting the devil win. We're letting them win. Those people that you're trying to get social security from the social service office or the social security office, you give up. They don't want, because they don't want you to get the money. Where they like, okay, more money for the government, and they spend somewhere else to wars that don't need to be. So guess what? We need to create our own.
Absolutely. I love that. You got some people talking in the chat room over here. And
I can't see it.
you see them coming up, right?
Oh, thank you.
Speak so much truth. Michelle was saying, I'm grateful for it all. That's the gospel song she listens to. Michelle, I hope you're feeling better, by the way, because you've been sick.
Oh, I hope you feel better.
And Megan goes, yes, love this all so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Blessings to you, Megan. Thank you.
And this Rita says, great advice.
Thank you.
I love it. I'm so happy that you were able to speak with me today. Your story is very compelling.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I look forward to getting my book.
Oh yeah, sure. Like
I will be ordering that sucker tonight.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you so much. Like that's why I told people, the book is not just about lupus. It's overall. This is me. And this is what I wanted them to get an understanding, like just to get a feel of where I was coming from, and just really get to know, like, yes, we all have a past. We all been through something, and if we haven't been through, if it was handed to you, you ain't gonna work too hard for it. You work hard, you're gonna hold on tight. You're gonna hold on tight to everything you worked for.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna put the name of the book up again.
Okay.
Someone asked for it. It's called The Journey of the Unbreakable Warrior.
Yes.
And it's on.
I can't wait for you guys to read.
I love it. I love that picture because it shows everything about you. It really does.
Yes. My cousin actually, when we did a photo shoot, she said, I kept saying, man, which picture I want to do? She was like, I think you need to do this one. She said, because it's just showing so much like you're hurt, and it's like you're this and it's that. And she's like, you got to show that. I just wanted them to see who I was. Like, I wasn't ashamed to, show my hands, and, just for you to see overall who I was.
And you know what? And I say this to a lot of people. Your scars are your beauty.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can say something about your scars, but your personality and your spirit is so beautiful. Those scars become your beauty.
Thank you.
So I love it.
Thank you
so much, Mariatu.
Oh, you're welcome. I appreciate you inviting me on.
Not a problem. Anytime. Okay.
And thank you, everyone. I really couldn't see your comments, but like I could see 1 or 2 coming in, so I do apologize.
I love it. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in. You all make sure you go get Mariatu's book, The Journey of the Unbreakable Warrior. Go ahead and support her. And I will meet you guys on Wednesday.
Thank you again. Have a good night.
You too.
All right, bye.
Amazing. I love it. I love it. Her story is so compelling, and it's such a great spirit coming from her. So make sure you all really support her and buy her book. I'm sure it's going to be a great read. I'm looking to buy mine tonight. and just support our lupus warriors. A lot of our lupus warriors are doing so much good, so many different things, and we can help them by just supporting them and doing what we can. So thank you all for tuning in. It is 8:05. We are 5 minutes over the time that I allotted, but that's okay. I will see you all on Wednesday for the midweek refuel. You all have a great night. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.